Hello, I'm Ella, a 26-year-old woman with her fair share of mother-in-law struggles. I know that many of you are aware that mothers-in-law can be a big pain. However, I think my controlling mother-in-law can give you a good competition. Here is my story, and I hope you seriously enjoy it. I'm a very humble girl from an equally humble background. My parents were pretty much middle class and not completely made of wealth. From a very young age, they taught me to be independent so that I can live on my own. I took their teachings very seriously and have done pretty well in life. I have a college degree in nursing and work at a nearby hospital. While my work hours are terrible, I still manage to earn well for myself. Suffice it to say that my parents and I are proud of me. Even though my academic life was a great success, my love life was a wreck. I have been in more than one toxic relationship in the past. Back then, I was naive and didn't know how to stand up for myself in matters of love. However, I did learn a lot from those relationships. I learned to speak for myself and preserve my dignity and walk away when necessary. For the longest time, I thought I was going to be alone. However, when I joined the hospital, I found the man of my dreams. Ryan was a doctor and worked as a cardiologist. We became friends with each other since I was mainly working in his unit. The friendship slowly blossomed into love after he started to ask me out. It was busy with our respective schedules, but we made it work. He was an extremely kind and caring person in general. I have seen him interact with patients and knew right away that he was a great guy. He was equally loving towards me as well. It was difficult not to fall for him easily. Even though loving him was easy, I was always looking out for red flags. My previous relationships had taught me that things can change very easily. I was a little wary of him in the beginning, but after 1 year, everything was going smoothly. We dated for 2 years before he decided to propose to me. He said that this just felt right, and he was never so sure of something in his life before. I said yes because I loved him a lot and didn't want to live without him. The only thing that made me uneasy was his mother. After dating for 6 months, Ryan told me that he actually lived with his mom. I was kind of shocked because his medical degree was on full scholarship and he earned enough to move out. When I voiced my surprise, he said that it was his mother, Susan, who didn't want him to leave. You see, he is the oldest of 3 kids. He has a twin brother and sister who are still in college. Ryan's father had passed away after the twins were born. After Ryan's father passed away, Susan heavily relied on Ryan. Ryan was actually parentified as he had to constantly look after his twin siblings. His mother refused to hire a babysitter because she thought Ryan should step up and be the parent. Susan also became increasingly fixated on Ryan. As he silently took up all the work, Susan thought she could control him forever. It's like Ryan became a replacement for her husband. Both Eddie and Olivia told me that Susan hated it when Ryan didn't listen to her demands. She also manipulated Ryan into breaking up with his girlfriend because she thought they were taking him away. When Ryan decided to move out after college, Susan threw a fit and blackmailed him into staying. She cried for days and told him awful things. Ryan felt guilty for abandoning his mother, so he stayed behind. After getting the job, Susan took 60% of his money for rent and other needs. She never really gave him a rundown of what the expenses were like. No, Susan just straight up demanded the money when she was told about his salary. She left her job and mostly relies on Ryan's income to get by. Ryan's siblings do not have a very good relationship with her either. Since she was barely around them, they kind of looked up to Ryan as their parent. I have already met and developed a deep friendship with them. Susan was not willing to meet me the entire time we dated. She just kept telling Ryan that he's moving too fast and should consider other options. He tried to tell her that we are serious, but she never listened. When we finally got engaged, she decided to meet me in person. She invited me over to her house one day. Readers, I cannot tell you how shocked I was when I went. The house itself is very good and looks quite homely. However, I got to know that Susan rarely helps in the upkeep of the house. She makes Ryan do all the dishes and the cooking after he returns from his shift. When Ryan says he's too tired, she cries and tells him how she was depressed and didn't want to do the chores. The twins helped a lot with the house chores when they were at home. After they moved, Susan refused to work their part. She simply quit her job and expected to be treated as a queen. I was slowly starting to understand why Ryan was always tired and looked like he barely slept. He was taking care of the house and cooking for his family after work. With his crazy hours, you can imagine how taxing that would be. Susan was quite a rude and mean lady as far as I understood her. She made fun of me for being a nurse and told me they are second class to doctors. Then she made some mean jokes about how I must have seduced Ryan to elevate my status. Ryan looked shocked by her words and tried to defend me. However, Susan refused to apologize for anything. The entire dynamic between Susan and Ryan was very weird. It's like Susan expected him to take care of her completely. She never even got up to help. I felt so bad for Ryan that I decided to help him cook. He honestly looked like he appreciated my help. When we sat down for our meal, Susan kept making faces looking at the food. She said, "Ryan, what the hell did you make? This looks like trash. Where did you get this horrible recipe?" "Mom, actually Ella made that for you. She wanted to help me out and made her favorite dish for you." "I'm sure you'll like it, Susan. It's an old recipe from my grandmother. Why don't you have a taste?" "I don't eat trash like this, honey. I have superior taste than this. What is this dish even?" "It's a pasta dish, Susan. Just some tomatoes, herbs, and cheese." You put tomatoes in that pasta? No wonder it looks like shit. I freaking hate tomatoes." "Mom, what are you saying? You eat tomatoes all the time." "I do eat them when they don't look so horrendous. Like I said, Ella, I have superior taste. Just looking at this has killed my appetite. I guess I'll just starve today." "No, Mom, it's okay. I'll make you something else." With that, Ryan disappeared in the kitchen without eating the food. I know it's been a while since he ate anything, so I felt awful for him. I quietly waited for him to come back so that we could eat together. Susan had absolutely no problem in opening up a packet of chips and munching on them. I was so angry that I decided not to open my mouth anymore. When Ryan returned with some roasted chicken, Susan only ate 2 bites. After that, she rose and simply dumped the chicken in the trash, saying that she was full from the chips. I couldn't believe the audacity of this woman. If I were Ryan, I would have flipped my shit. He didn't even react much, just looked at the dustbin with a defeated face. He tried to clear the awkwardness of the moment by praising my cooking. However, I knew that that incident was affecting him. When I came home, I knew I needed to talk to him. I told him, "Ryan, how can you let your mother treat you like that? It was awful." "She's my mom, Ella. She worked hard to raise me. The twins are far away and she doesn't have anyone except me." "That doesn't mean she can take advantage of you. From what I see, you barely get any rest and still pay way too much for living with your mom. You need to move out." "You don't understand. She won't let me. She'll scream and cry. I don't want her to be upset. She may be a little mean, but she is still my mom." We are getting married anyway. Why don't you move in with me? I have inherited the house my grandmother lived in. It's all mine now. You can stay there with me. It's also 30 minutes from our job and not 2 hours away like your house. I don't know, Ella. Mom is not going to like it. I did my best to convince Ryan about moving in with me. It would make his life so much easier. Also, I couldn't bear to see him in a toxic household. After many rounds of discussion, Ryan agreed to move in with me after the wedding. I was a little disappointed, but got over it quickly. He was dreading telling his mom about the move. I reassured him that I had his back no matter what. Ryan pleaded with me to keep the move a secret before he told his mother. I agreed immediately. The wedding planning itself was pretty hectic. Susan kept sticking her nose everywhere. She had something bad to say about everything we chose. She didn't like the menu because it wasn't catered to her tastes. Susan kept throwing a fit about how there was nothing she could eat. But we did include quite some dishes that she likes. She also threw a fit when I included lilies in the table decor. Apparently she hates lilies and can't stand to be around them. I mean, it's just a flower. It wasn't like she was allergic to it or something. Me and Ryan were already getting tired of everything. Susan also insisted on joining my dress shopping because she was the mother of the groom. Suffice it to say, there was no way in hell I was allowing that. I wouldn't give her a chance to put me down in front of my family. Ryan said that he and his mother had a bad argument about this. However, he stood up for me and made sure she wouldn't show up at the appointment. It was also this day when he informed Susan about the move. Ryan said that she was suspiciously calm about the entire thing. This unusual behavior of hers threw me off completely. I was genuinely surprised that she let him go so easily. Everything became clear when Eddie and Olivia visited us during their semester break. They said, "We heard Ryan is moving in with you. Mom called me to tell me about it." Yes, we agreed it was the better option for us. It is close to our work and fully paid off, so there'll be no need for rent. And it is also Susan free, which is what Ryan needs right now. It's about time he detaches himself from Mom. He can't live like this forever. That's an extra bonus, actually. He is already losing way too much money by staying with her. I don't see myself living with his mom after getting married. That would be weird when I own a house. I am surprised Ryan even agreed to this move. He doesn't like confronting Mom at all. No wonder he always took up responsibilities that were supposed to be hers. Watch out, though. Mom told me some really weird stuff about moving in with you guys. She didn't tell me much, but I know that she's planning something. On the day of the wedding, Susan wore a white cocktail dress. I was shocked to see her because she said she would wear a blue gown. When I asked her about it, she said, "Oh, Ella, the blue dress looks so ugly on me, I decided to change. You know how I love to look my best. This white is complimenting me so well. I already feel like a star." Susan, you know I told everyone not to wear white at the wedding. It's supposed to be my color today. I tried to tell her that. She just wouldn't listen. Sorry, Ella. Oh, hush now. I'm the mother of the groom. This is my day, too. We have to get along well now that Ryan is moving in with me. What do you mean, Susan? You will find out soon, my dear. The way Susan talked to me and smirked at me made me uneasy. My MOH was so mad that she was planning to drop wine on her dress. However, I told her to leave Susan alone. I was adamant I wouldn't let it ruin my wedding. The ceremony and reception were also surprisingly calm. We had a blast and couldn't wait to be on our way to our honeymoon. However, Susan's words kept coming back to me the entire time. After coming back from our honeymoon, we settled into my home, which quickly became our safe place. That peace lasted for only a week. One day when I was on leave, the doorbell went off. I walked to the door thinking of nothing. When I opened it, Susan was smiling at me. Behind her were 4 suitcases that looked pretty full. Before I could react, Susan shoved me aside and walked inside. She told me to bring along her suitcases when I was done being lazy. Still in a daze, I dragged her heavy suitcases inside. I found her comfortably sitting on my couch with her tote bag. When I went to her, she simply handed me a bundle of papers from her tote. And I said, "What is this, Susan?" "Well, it's the new house rules. I compiled it to make things easier for you. God knows how slow you are with these things." "What are you talking about? You were not making any sense." "Don't be stupid, Ella. Ryan moved in here last week, so I decided to empty my house and come along. We are a package deal, you know. The house is not to my taste, but we will rectify that soon." "Excuse me? Who the hell told you that you can stay here?" "Well, I thought I made that very clear. My poor boy has never stayed away from me for long. He needs his mother in the house. You are no wife material and seem to be spending too much time at work anyway. Someone needs to be at home. Besides, I'm old and need someone to take care of me. So I figured since my son is already putting his money here, I might as well come along." "Susan, this is literally a 15-page book you just handed me. You expect me to be okay with you moving in and also cater to your needs?" "Yes. Ryan's house is my house too. And in my house, people do as I say." "Well, give me a minute. I'll be right back." With that, I walked inside and went to my study desk. I brought out a loose sheet and wrote something. I also sent a quick text to Ryan about the situation and proceeded to see Susan. I handed her the page and told her to read. She was shocked when she read the message. It simply said that it's my house and she needs to get out. It took Susan a second before she started screaming at me. She called me names, she threatened me with legal action and said that she deserved to live in her son's house. After being calm and collected for so long, I broke. I also started screaming at her and told her off. I told her that the house was solely mine and Ryan was not even on the deed. The house was a part of my inheritance and had nothing to do with her son's money. She just would not listen to me. I even threatened to call the cops to make her leave. However, she was not budging. Before I could call the police, Ryan showed up at the house. He was absolutely appalled by what Susan did and looked genuinely mortified. He said, "Mom, what did I tell you that you will be living with me? This is Ella's house. Only me and her are supposed to live here. Where did you get this awful idea of moving here?" "Well, since you're already paying her so much money, I thought I should make it worthwhile." "You have stopped sending me money. What am I supposed to do? This gold digger is already taking away my son. I won't let her take my money as well." "What the hell, Mom? I was simply paying you rent and utilities when I lived with you. You took way more money than you should have. I don't know why you expect me to still give you more than half of my paycheck. I'm still sending you an allowance. Isn't it enough?" "Don't be ridiculous, Ryan. It's barely enough to cover my needs. You know I maintain a particular standard. I can't live cheap like your wife." "By standards, you mean eating out every day and buying designer things? I'm not your cash cow, Susan. I'm married now. Because of you, I was barely able to fund the wedding. Ella and her mom paid a bigger share to make it happen. All these years, haven't I given you enough?" "Ryan, you are my eldest son. You're supposed to take care of me. Because of you, I didn't even consider marrying again." "Susan, Ryan is not your replacement husband. Stop making him become one. That's not happening again." The rest of the conversation involved way too many cuss words and name-calling. I must admit that the entire thing was bizarre. Ryan was trying his best to keep the situation under control. However, I could see that even he was done with her shit. After a lot of back and forth, Ryan also threatened to call the police. And that's when Susan backed down and tried to sway him by crying and screaming. We quickly called her sister Chloe so that she could come to fetch her. When Chloe arrived, Susan immediately sobered up a little. Well, let me just say, Chloe tore into Susan. She called Susan a spoiled princess among many others. Chloe is older than Susan and has observed what she did to her children. She was disgusted by how far Susan was willing to go. She went off on her about being a bad mother and parentifying Ryan at a young age. Ryan was already crying and I had to struggle to console him. At the same time, I also wanted to rip out Susan's hair from anger. Chloe then managed to drag a sobbing Susan out of our house. She told us that she would take Susan back to her own house. After they left, I spent a long time consoling Ryan, who was a wreck. He was slowly starting to understand the extent of Susan's controlling behavior. We had a long discussion and decided that we need to get him therapy as soon as possible. Eddie and Olivia also called us and wanted to know what happened. Apparently, Susan had called them up and complained to them about me. Instead of saying anything, they just cut a call and called us immediately. I explained to them what happened and they were enraged. They had very little connection to Susan and were ready to cut her off. The four of us had a discussion and concluded that we needed to go no contact with Susan. I called Chloe and told us about our decision. She was surprisingly understanding and told us that Susan had it coming. She also said that Susan would be with her for some time so that Chloe could drill some sense into her. Chloe also informed me that she was giving Susan money so that she could pay for the twins' college. Turns out Susan was just pocketing the money herself. When it all came out, we were even more enraged than before. I spent the entire night consoling Ryan and telling him that he did his best. Even the twins spoke to him privately and told him that they loved him. They were thinking about flying to us to help Ryan deal with the situation better. In the aftermath of the incident, we had completely no contact with Susan. Ryan drafted an email about his feelings and the no contact request. He then sent it to Susan so that she knows. Chloe told us that Susan started to act like a deranged woman when she got the email. She would have come back to the house if Chloe didn't have her under control. We have already blocked her on all our contacts, so we haven't heard anything so far. Ryan is doing a lot better and has joined therapy. We have also started to attend couples counseling. Things are slowly back to being normal, and I am glad Ryan was able to extract himself from his abusive mother.